What is vibe coding?
Let me tell you about the moment everything changed for me. I was sitting in my living room in France. My 4 kids were asleep. It was past midnight. I had just spent 6 hours trying to learn JavaScript. My eyes were burning. My brain felt like it was full of wet sand. And I still could not build a simple login page. I had spent thousands of euros on coding boot camps. I had watched hundreds of YouTube tutorials. I had bought courses from people who promised that anyone could learn to code if they just tried hard enough. And I was trying. Believe me, I was trying. But something was not clicking. It was not that I was not smart enough. It was that my brain did not work that way. I am a creative person. I think in images and feelings and stories. I do not think in semicolons and brackets and functions. That night, I closed my laptop and I cried. Not because I was sad, because I was frustrated. I had all these ideas in my head. Apps that could help people, platforms that could change lives, businesses that could support my family. And I could not build any of them because I could not write code. Then something happened. 3 months later, a friend sent me a link to a platform called Base 44. She said you can build apps without writing code. I laughed. I said, that is not real. That is like saying you can cook without a kitchen. She said, just try it. 1 hour. That is all I am asking. So I tried it. And in that first hour, I built a landing page. A real landing page. With a hero section and a call to action button and a footer. It was not perfect, but it was mine. I had built it. Me. The woman who cried over JavaScript at midnight. That was the moment I discovered vibe coding. And it changed my life. So what is vibe coding? Let me define it clearly, because a lot of people are confused about this. Vibe coding is the practice of building software applications using natural language instructions and AI assistance instead of writing traditional programming code. You describe what you want in plain language. The AI builds it for you. You review it. You refine it. You iterate until it works. Think of it like this. Traditional coding is like writing a recipe from scratch. You need to know every ingredient, every measurement, every cooking time, every technique. Vibe coding is like describing the meal you want to a personal chef who can cook anything. You say, I want a spicy chicken curry with coconut milk and basmati rice. The chef makes it. You taste it. You say more salt, less heat. The chef adjusts. You do not need to know how to chop onions. You need to know what good food tastes like. That is the key. You need to know what good software looks like. You need to have taste. You need to have vision. You need to understand the problem you are solving. But you do not need to know how to write a for loop. Let me give you a real example from my own experience. Last year, I wanted to build a platform for financial education. I had the content, I had the curriculum, I had the vision, but I did not have a developer. And I could not code it myself. Using vibe coding, I described the app to the AI. I said I want a platform where users can take a 5-day financial challenge. Each day unlocks new content. Users pay 47 euros to join. They get daily emails. They track their progress. There is a leaderboard. There is an affiliate program where people can earn commissions for referring others. The AI built it. Not in months, in days. And when something was not right, I did not open a code editor. I typed in plain English. Make the leaderboard show the top 10 instead of top 5. Add a badge that appears when someone completes all 5 days. Change the email subject line to be more personal. That is vibe coding. You are not writing code. You are directing. You are the creative director. The AI is your development team. Now here is something important that nobody talks about. Vibe coding is not just about building apps faster. It is about who gets to build apps. For decades, the ability to create software has been locked behind a wall of technical knowledge. If you could not code, you could not build. That meant millions of brilliant ideas never came to life. Millions of people with solutions to real problems were shut out because they did not speak the language of machines. Vibe coding breaks that wall. It says, you do not need to speak machine. The machine will learn to speak human. And that changes everything. I think about the women in my community in Kenya, brilliant entrepreneurs. They sell products, they run services, they organize communities, but they cannot build apps because they were never taught to code. Not because they are not capable, because the system never gave them access. With vibe coding, they can build. They can describe what they need in their own language. They can create platforms for their businesses. They can reach customers online. They can compete with companies that have full development teams. Not because they learned to code, because they learned to vibe code. There is a difference between being a coder and being a vibe coder that I want to be honest about. A coder knows how the machine works at a deep level. They can optimize performance. They can fix security vulnerabilities. They can build systems that handle millions of users. That knowledge is valuable and it always will be. A vibe coder knows what to build and why. They understand the user. They understand the market. They understand the problem. They use AI to translate their understanding into working software. They may not know how the code works under the hood, but they know that it works. And they know that it solves a real problem. Both are important. Both have value. But here is the truth that the tech industry does not want to admit. Most software does not need a deep, technical expert to build. Most software solves straightforward problems. A booking system, a course platform, a marketplace, a community forum. These are not rocket science. They are just tools that people need. For the longest time, we made people believe they needed a computer science degree to build these things. They do not. They need a clear idea and the ability to communicate it. That is what I teach at 7D AI Academy. I do not teach people to code. I teach them to think clearly about what they want to build. I teach them to describe their vision in specific, actionable language. I teach them to iterate, to test, to refine, to ship. And here is what happens when they ship. They change. Something shifts inside them. They go from I am not a technical person to I am a builder. That shift is not just about software. It is about identity. It is about what you believe you are capable of. I have seen this shift in my own life. Before vibe coding, I identified as a non-technical person. I said it about myself. I am not technical. I cannot build apps. I need to hire someone. That identity kept me small. It kept me dependent. It kept my ideas trapped in my head. After vibe coding, I became a builder. I built 7 apps, real apps. Apps with users and payments and affiliate programs. Apps that generate revenue. Apps that help people. And I did it without writing a single line of traditional code. I am now ranked in the top 0.03% of base 44 users. Out of 400,000 users worldwide, I am in the top 120. Not because I am a genius, because I showed up every day and I built. Let me share one more story before we wrap up this first episode. A few months ago, I was on a call with a woman named Grace. She is a mother of 3 in Nairobi. She runs a small business selling homemade peanut butter. She told me she wanted to build an app where her customers could order online and track deliveries. She had been quoted 80,000 Kenyan shillings by a developer. That is about 600 US dollars. She did not have that money. I told her about vibe coding. I said, Grace, you can build this yourself. She laughed. She said, I am just a peanut butter seller. I do not know anything about computers. I said, you do not need to know about computers. You need to know about peanut butter. You know your customers. You know what they need. You know how your business works. Just describe that to the AI. 2 weeks later, Grace called me. She had built her ordering app. It was simple. Customers could browse products, place orders, and track delivery. She built it using free tools. She paid 0 shillings. And the first week it was live, she got 12 orders through the app. 12 orders that would have gone to her competitor who had a website. That is the power of vibe coding. It is not about technology. It is about access. It is about giving people the tools to solve their own problems. Grace did not become a coder. She became a builder. And that distinction matters. Let me share one more thing before we close this episode. When I talk about vibe coding, people often ask me if it is cheating. They say, you are not really building the app. The AI is building it. You are just telling it what to do. Is that not like hiring a developer and taking credit for their work? I understand the question, and I want to answer it honestly. When I hire a developer, I give them a brief. They go away, they build, they come back with something. I review it, I give feedback, they adjust. That process can take weeks, and the developer makes many decisions without my input. They choose the architecture, they choose the libraries, they choose the patterns. I am not involved in those decisions. I am the client. They are the builder. With vibe coding, I am the builder. I make every decision. I choose every feature. I write every instruction. I review every output. I test every interaction. I am in the loop for every step. The AI is my tool, not my contractor. The difference is proximity and control. With a developer, I am distant from the building. With vibe coding, I am in the building. That is not cheating. That is a different kind of building. Think about an architect. An architect does not pour the concrete. They do not lay the bricks. They do not weld the steel, but they design the building. They decide where every wall goes. They decide how every room connects. They decide what the building looks like and how it functions. Nobody says the architect is cheating because they do not pour the concrete. The architect is the creator. The construction workers are the tools. In vibe coding, you are the architect. The AI is the construction crew. You design. The AI builds. You are not cheating. You are architecting. And that distinction matters because it means the quality of what you build depends on you. Your clarity, your vision, your decisions. The AI is powerful, but it is not the architect. You are. So if you are listening to this and you have an idea for an app but you think you cannot build it because you are not technical, I want you to hear me clearly. You can. You absolutely can. The tools exist today. The AI exists today. The only thing standing between you and your app is the decision to start. You do not need permission. You do not need a degree. You do not need a developer. You need an idea and the willingness to describe it clearly. That is vibe coding. That is what I do. And that is what I am going to teach you throughout this series. If you want to learn vibe coding and start building your own apps, come join me at 7D AI Academy. Search for 7D AI Academy online and start your journey today. Your first app is closer than you think. I am Smarty, and this has been the first episode of Vibe Coding with Purpose. See you in the next one.